The man who killed 10 people at a Boulder King Soopers will spend the rest of his life in prison. That sentence came after a jury convicted him yesterday afternoon on all counts. Joining me this morning to discuss the case is our 9 News legal expert, Whitney Traylor. As always, thank you so much for coming in.
Sure. Good morning.
Anything that surprised you yesterday?
No, I don't think that there was anything that was necessarily a surprise. How long the jury deliberated, I wouldn't have been surprised if that they came back after 6 hours, or if they would have taken a little bit longer. I'm not necessarily surprised by the verdict. I mean, really the issue was about whether or not he was sane, whether he knew the difference between right and wrong at the time he committed the crime. So there wasn't a dispute that he actually did the shooting. It was just a matter of what his mindset was. And so they, deliberated. There was a lot of expert testimony. It's very difficult. This was difficult testimony to hear. This was complex in that the experts were talking. There was a lot of discussion about psychological mindsets and things like that. And they came back after 6 hours is a long time. That's enough time to deliberate and look at the evidence, and I think that's what they did.
Another interesting thing that came out of this is that they read the verdict and then the shooter was sentenced. A lot of the times those are separated. In this case, they were together. Yeah,
that's right. Usually it is separated. There's a whole process. There's a pre-sentencing report that they do. They talk to a number of people and they give this report to the judge. Then they make their arguments about what they think the sentence should be. But here the parties agreed beforehand. I don't know how soon before this, but they agreed, hey, let's just go straight into sentencing. In some respects, this was a foregone conclusion because we got rid of the death penalty. They knew, because it was this first degree murder charge, that he would be in serving life without the possibility of parole. So there wasn't a lot of question what it would be. So I think they just didn't want to drag it on.
Yeah, and both sides kind of said that. They're like, we don't want this to go on and on, right? I mean, because it took 3.5 years to even get to this point, right?
Correct.
So the defense filed a motion. I think this is so interesting. The defense filed a motion that the shooter be credited for the time he has already spent in jail.
Yep.
Why would that be asked, considering the verdict?
Yeah, because the verdict, he got 10 consecutive life sentences plus 1,334 years for the other crimes as well. So, I mean, the lawyers still, they're doing their best for their client in terms of making sure that due process is served. And so, even though it may not matter, there may be appellate reasons that they want to do it. The law may change in the future. We don't know what, and so those years may, when it's all said and done, it's not going to make a difference. But I think the lawyers still advocate at every level that they can.
Yeah, that was really interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I know that this was so hard for the community and so hard for families, and they got a little bit of closure. I know that word's hard, but they had been waiting for so long, to get to this point. So we really appreciate you coming down and breaking down the verdict for us. Yeah,
it's good to be here. Tough case to talk about, and it did take a while, and that was probably primarily because of his competency. So the question about his sanity at the time of the commission of the crime was one thing, but then his ability to stand trial and participate in his defense, that was an issue that he was not deemed competent, so they forcibly medicated him, which over the last couple of years improved him enough to where he could sit for trial. So had they not forcibly medicated him, he would still probably be deemed incompetent.
Yeah, we saw that with all the psychologists that they brought up on both sides. Yeah, it was really interesting to see it all play out. As always, Whitney, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Chris.